Okay, at this time, we'll call to order the Little Miami Local Board of Education meeting. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Grice? Absent. Mr. Cremines?
Here.
Mr. Nemish? Here. Mr. Jernay?
Here.
Mr. Haas?
Here.
Thank you.
This time, Ms. Baker and the choir is going to sing the national anthem. If you all would remain standing, we'll recite the Pledge of Allegiance before we start our meeting. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Before we get started, I'd like to say something. I work at Kings Island, and I open the front gate sometimes, and every morning we do that. We have professional entertainers do the national anthem, and I wish that those people that do that could hear you ladies, because you guys are aces. You guys are freaking awesome.
Can you bring the lights up just a hair? Thank you, sir. Okay, at this time, I need a motion to adopt the agenda. Thank you.
I'll move.
Mr. Cremines? Ms. Jernay? Roll call, please.
Mr. Cremines?
Yes.
Mr. Nemish?
Yes.
Mr. Jernay?
Yes.
Mr. Haas?
Yes. This time we need a motion for the reading of the minutes, July 26th regular meeting and the August 4th special meeting. Ms.
I'll
Jernay?
second.
Mr. Cremines? Roll call, please.
Mr. Nemish?
Yes.
Mr. Jernay?
Yes.
Mr. Haas?
Yes.
Mr. Cremines?
Yes.
Okay, at this time, visitors and communications to the board. Mr. Power?
Good evening. It's my pleasure, we have our choir group here tonight to talk a little bit about some really great international accomplishments that Mrs. Baker and her students had occurred during this summer. They went to Italy, and they performed there in some competitions, and their hard work definitely paid off. They competed at the Musica Sacra International Contest in Rome this summer, and the group earned 3 gold ratings, 2 championships, and a Grand Prix competition appearance in Italy. Also, while there, the Little Miami Ensemble of Danny Sarah Baker presented in Rome. Sarah, I'd like you to come up to the mic and talk a little bit about your experience, and maybe, I don't know, you might have a few young ladies there that might like to share some things as well.
I'm going to take this down because I'm a little uncomfortable staying in one place. Thank you for allowing me to have this time to present to you just a little bit of what we accomplished in the overseas this summer. We actually were in Italy and then moved into Austria, where we gave several performances, and then in Munich, Germany for a day. So we were able to perform in St. Peter, the Basilica, for Mass on July 4th. We also performed for Mass in St. Mark's in Venice. And what a beautiful opportunity to serve back to the roots of choral music and how it all began. And it was just a fabulous experience, I think, for all of my students. In order to compete in international competition, one is required to qualify in different ways. We had previously performed in 3 international competitions, and you have to accumulate a certain number of points, and you have to receive at least 1 gold medal before you're accepted into doing something like this. It is highly competitive. You are judged by an entire jury of international judges, and this particular competition was such a delight because we were able to actually perform in an evaluation setting, just as they would if they were to come into my classroom. And when the ladies finished performing a set of 3 pieces, then each of those jurors were able to offer suggestions to help the girls and to help me, which I really love so much. It's great to have an evaluator that is a professional in my setting, what I do, and especially at that level. So that was such a great reward. And it was amazing to see how music transcends all boundaries of language. I was able to meet with all of our jurors after the competition, and I remember sitting at the table of a few of the jurors that knew no English at all. I was trying to speak with them through an interpreter, and one of them just sat there with tears in his eyes and just kept going like this because he remembered those girls. One judge, in his very fractured English, said to me, "I can tell what you are communicating to your girls without even seeing your face." And it was one of the greatest compliments I could have ever received because I had to say no words. And it was all felt from my communication with them. And it's such a powerful, powerful thing. I'm so glad we had that experience. In the program book, we were also featured because I had the pleasure of being selected or chosen from a session proposal that I had done last winter to present how I use synesthesia in placing voices in my choirs. A synesthete, if you do not know, or maybe you do, is someone who has one sense that is carried over into another. And for me, when I hear my students sing, I see a color. And that is why, for many of you who have seen my choirs perform, you've seen my ladies and some of my guys with colors, colored sashes, sequin sashes, colored ties. Those are representations of the voice colors that I see when they sing. So I was able to give a presentation in Rome about how I use that to create the best balance and blend in my ensembles, and gave a demonstration for them and that's going to be part of the promotional video that this organization is going to use around the world. And so we're really, really excited about that. I think one of the greatest things, besides receiving the 3 gold ratings, I had hoped for 1, but then to find out that we got championships in both of them, especially one that was just, when they said from the United States of America, I thought I was going to pass out. The gospel spiritual category, which is our very favorite. But then to find out that we made it into the Grand Prix competition, only the top 6 choirs in the competition are invited to sing in that. So it was just, I think I cried for 3 for the support and the opportunities to do this. We took 11 girls that were in the choir last year, and then I had 6 alumni girls that have been members of Select Women's Chorale perform with us. There is a minimum number requirement for your ensembles, and it was such a pleasure for me to work with these ladies who have gone on to college that then chose to come back to do this with me. So, anybody else want to say anything for Bethany Brosey? Bethany is a Bethany is a member of my Select Women's Chorale through high school, and she is now a senior at Wittenberg, and she will speak. Yay.
Yes, I will speak. I graduated from here in 2013, and that seems like such a long time ago to me. And it's difficult for me when I'm in college trying to explain what my high school choir experience was like. Because a lot of people, they find their true passion for choir in college, I think, and for me and for a lot of girls in your choirs, it's completely different. We just can't stop thinking about the experiences we had with Mrs. Baker in her choir, and this has been such an amazing experience for me. I've never felt more blessed than I have been when I've been performing with these ladies overseas and being the oldest member of the group. It's crazy, but it's amazing, and it's thank you.
My name is Megan Packard, and I was a 2016 graduate. So I did stay over a little bit, but not much. And to me, music, and specifically this choir, means a lot more to me than just an extracurricular. I learned more with this choir than I did in a lot of other things because I learned how to be part of a community, and because of not only the success in the international competition, but just the opportunity to compete in it at all. I learned more about international culture and how to bond with people who are older than me and in different countries, and that to me is a huge blessing, and I would be happy to return for any number of years to be part of this.
This was just an amazing opportunity, and I never dreamed I would ever get to go across the sea to a different country. It's coming from a girl that's never been across the Mississippi River, but I got to travel all the way across the world and experience different cultures, 3 different cultures, and it was just amazing. And this choir is very important thing that we have here at Little Miami, and it's just, it's it's made me more confident in the person I am, and it's made me more outgoing. And I really thank Ms. Baker for providing this opportunity. It's just a really great thing that we have here, and I hope it continues to keep going, and I will be proud to come back and share more experiences with her.
This video is a promotional video set by Needed Music. The Musica Eterna Roma Festival, and this organization has not released this publicly yet. They gave us permission to use it tonight. It's just a quick 2.5-minute video that they will be using in their promotional materials around the world. So, and you can see our girls were in the background there. This is at our evaluation performance. It was hot.
Sarah, we thank you for all of the efforts that you put forth with your kids. We know you're a talented artist, and you bring out the art and the ability of your kids, and that's what makes a great teacher. Thank you. And for the boring part of the meeting, I certainly thought that. I did have an opening year update that I wanted to give the board. As we grow to approach 4,700 kids, we certainly are not without our challenges with our space, with transporting more kids than we've ever transported before. Just this afternoon, we get updates from the county whenever they have road maintenance or major road work, and I think over the last 4 or 5 days since we've opened school, I think I've seen 3 or 4 different road closures and maintenance things that have occurred, which we don't get heads up on. We just get a day, or even like today, I think we got the notice midday and the road was closed. So Edwardsville, I guess, is permanently closed now. And when you do your routing and you create your routes, it'd be nice to know that those kind of things are occurring well ahead. So that was one of today's big challenges, is how to route around a road that has suddenly become permanently closed. And we just get notice today. So that takes a couple of hours of work and moving kids around and bus routes around. Another challenge that we've had, I think we had over 120 kids enroll after we completed the routes a few days in front of the opening of school. So our transportation department actually took about 23 hours over the weekend working to route those kids and get them a bus and get them on a bus. So we do have a cutoff where we have to know what the routes are, and we have to know what students we're transporting, and at a certain point we tell enrolling parents that it will be several days before they get transportation. So with an influx of over 120 kids enroll after that cutoff, that's another challenge. And our transportation department spent 23 hours over the weekend calling parents and scheduling parents and changing routes and in order to accommodate the additional students who needed transport. I think Nancy Central Registration has continued to enroll kids even after 3 o'clock today, yes. So we're showing right now on our enrollment about 4,669 kids, but I think we'll easily break 4,700 by the time all of our enrollments happen. So did Melinda have a video she was going to show? We have a communications coordinator that has acquired a drone, and so she's our eye in the sky around the district. And she put together an opening year video to show the district, and she posted it up on our website. But I was so impressed with it, I thought I'd share that tonight.
I would have appreciated showing it maybe before that last video, because it's not that good thing.
Yes. Not back to fall.
channel? Yeah.
And the next update I have for the board, remember, as you'll recall, last month we talked, and I updated the board regarding our look at the wrestling space and how we can support the wrestling program for the coming year. And I've asked Kathy to come down and talk a little bit more about a recommendation that we're making to the board regarding support for the coming year. Tiffany there too. I couldn't see you back there in the dark.
She was hiding. No, as we talked in our last board meeting, we're kind of limited as to what we can do that doesn't cause issues with other athletics activities. And as Mr. Howard pointed out, we're kind of limited in space right now and trying to work all that out. So I think that Tiffany's come up with a good plan as far as adding an extra coach. So that way we're not taking any room away, but all of our students will be safe, our athletes will be safe, and getting the support that they need. So I'll let her talk a little bit about what that looks like.
Yeah, I talked to Chad, I talked to him a few times even since we talked last with the lack of space, and that this year it just doesn't really look feasible to add any room for that. So what we came up with was adding 1 to 2 coaches on staff so that we could actually keep those same number of kids, not turn anyone away, and rotate kids through in that 2 to 3 hour time block. So they would rotate through different stations, one being in the wrestling room, one being in the weight room, one being in the athletic hallway. But in order to do that and make sure everybody is safe and that we have adequate supervision, we would need to add some coaching positions to that. It would be ideal. It would be ideal to have 4 coaches, just to have our main varsity head coach in the wrestling room at all times, so that he could rotate everybody else and see all of those kids in the wrestling room. It's something we can talk about. If we could add 1 to 2, it's something we can talk about. But that right now looks like our best option. We don't have to turn anybody away. We can still keep it that 2.5 to 3 hour time slot, so he's not here for 6 hours kind of thing. Looks like our best option.
And then doing that, Tiffany, how will that impact wrestling, youth wrestling?
Hopefully, it won't. That's kind of the goal in this, is to not push, you're looking at me funny, Randy. Hopefully it won't at all, because this way, if we can keep our practice time slot the same, instead of having to expand it and do a 2 hour, a 2 hour, a 2 hour, instead keeping it all that 2, 2.5, and just rotating kids through, it won't push us back into that time slot that the youth program uses.
So you're saying you're going to add staff,
Yes.
and then you'll separate the athletes out of the weight room into different stations?
Yes.
And you said one was the weight room,
One would be
was
the weight room.
wrestling room,
Yes.
and the other was,
Probably going to be the athletic hallway. That's something
The
Chad and
hallway.
I are kind of looking at to see what's going to be the best option for that.
I mean, I don't know what they're doing in the hallway, but I'm assuming it would be safe because we've
Oh,
talked
yes.
in the past
Yes,
about
yes, yes.
mats, so
Yes.
whatever they
That's
would be.
not wrestling at all.
Okay.
Yes, yes. It would be more like conditioning type activities.
So they would be running simultaneous, and then they do a round
Yes.
robin type?
Yes, that's what we're looking at. I can't make it concrete just because, I mean, if
I'm
we
just trying
wind
to
up
get a
10,
picture
oh,
in my head,
absolutely.
right.
If we wind up with 10 more kids, then we might have to adjust it a little bit.
Right.
But that's kind of the plan that we're looking at, just to keep it safe within the space that we have now. Make sense?
I mean, it's not a permanent solution, and we know that,
Correct.
but and it doesn't affect, well, we hope it doesn't impact the youth
Correct.
program, but the possibility is there. What about the other sports?
It won't. It will not affect those either. That was part of the problem looking at the
Right.
ball tie, was it would throw so many other sports into it. That would have caused a lot of domino effect. So this won't do that. The only concern that Chad threw up was the part in the hallway with the other sports going on. Is that going to be an issue? So that's something we're going to have to work through. It's something that our basketball coaches, everybody's gonna have to kind of work together, get on the same page. Right now, like I said, without having additional space, it really looks like our best option.
I mean, it sounds like a viable plan, at least for the time being, until we can come up with a permanent solution.
Sure.
And administrator doesn't mess with the classes.
No, we should, yeah. I think out of everything that we've looked at, this is absolutely the best.
Minimum.
Yes, and so, again, it's not a permanent fix, but I think it's a solution for this year to move forward.
And Chad's feedback was,
You're not holding me, Bill? No, I'm just kidding. He was pleased because we can't add any space. He said this is the absolute
Right.
next best thing. Yes.
Good job. I like that.
yeah.
All right.
So we'll work further detail out with that, and then we'll probably make a posting for.
I looked, yeah, you see me looking for.
It's
Not
not,
yet.
Just check it, okay. Thank you very much. Yes, I think that's a good solution. Yeah, that's a good start for the moment, yes.
And thank you, that's all I have at this time.
Okay, community comments on agenda items, where are you, Mr. O'Grady?
No one has signed up.
Okay, this time we will entertain the treasurer's reports and recommendations. Mr. Gunn?
Yes, under item A, ask for the board's approval of the monthly, would be July 2016 monthly financial reports.
I'll move.
Mr. Cremains?
I'll second.
Mr. Nemish? Any questions? Terry, do you have anything you'd like to point to our attention to?
No, well, it's July 2016. It is the first month of our new fiscal year.
Fiscal year.
Of course, runs through June 30th of 17. So we are, well, as we're sitting in August as we talk now, but as we're already on our way financially working through the year.
Okay. All right, roll call, please.
Ms. Jornet?
Yes.
Mr. Haas?
Yes.
Mr. Cremins?
Yes.
Mr. Nemish?
Yes.
And next, under item B, ask for the board's approval of the following contracts as listed. I'll move.
Mr. Nemish?
Second.
Mr. Cremins? Any questions? Anything?
I'd like to go over them briefly real quick.
Okay, thank you.
There's actually two in the box here, and then one separate. Under item B, there's interim healthcare, which is actually for nursing services, LPN, RN. Those are actually the same exact rates as the prior fiscal year, no increase. And then also UTS, transportation services. Once again, no increase from the prior year, so we kept all those rates exactly the same, so we try to not have any cost increases whatsoever on those. If we could get a roll call for those, this separate on B, then we'll go through C also.
No increase on either?
That's correct.
Thank you. Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Haas?
Yes.
Mr. Cremins?
Yes.
Mr. Nemish?
Yes.
Mr. Nay?
Yes.
Under item C, ask for the board's approval of the contract Immersion Design for their professional services agreement for their master planning services.
I'll move.
Mr. Cremins? Mr. Nay? Any questions?
We do have available, Ms. Christy Bourne from Immersion Design is actually out, and we honestly, if the board has any additional questions or anything over this particular item.
Also, Terry Lee from Helen Fanning's here as well.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Any questions?
Sorry.
I had a couple of questions that maybe you could help me. I don't know if it's on the description of the project. It talks about the additional 75 classrooms, and Greg and I kind of had a conversation earlier. So, and maybe Greg can answer the question, or maybe this is for immersion. But in doing so, one of the things that we were sold with on your firm was your ability to look at our current utilization. And I didn't see that in here. But it would be something that we would get, because before we would look to build more classrooms, we would want to know what our utilization is.
Yeah, absolutely. That's kind of part of the building assessment process. That's
Okay,
kind of
so-
our step one. I gave Gene a rather long
Yes.
honey-do list today, and he's probably panicking.
They turn a little wide. I was in.
I know. But I also know we have a lot that we're gonna be trying to accomplish. So part of that first phase, when we're doing building assessments, we'll be looking at the utilization of the spaces in the buildings themselves.
I mean, it was super exciting seeing the creative problem solving that just happened with the wrestling room. But we'll definitely be looking at ways to make sure that we're using our spaces efficiently.
Here?
I
see it. And the additional one that I had was feasibility analysis and assessment of Mara Elementary for future use possibilities would include instructional handbook. Could you enlighten us?
You're talking about looking at, are you talking about looking at Morrow Elementary specifically?
We've had before, individuals come before us and say it's this and it costs X dollars in the discussion, and I'm not sure that the board here is, we're looking for solutions.
Right,
Just
so,
kind of, maybe you could explain what that means there.
so again, part of that building assessment piece will be not only doing what you've already seen. So we will go in, we'll assess the building, we'll put dollars to what it would cost to renovate the building. And we'll look at different scenarios for what that building could be, because what it would cost to turn it back into a school building is probably very different than what it would cost to put in another function. So we're gonna wanna think really outside the box with different possibilities before recommending demolition or anything like that. Let's make sure that there aren't other uses that would be affordable solutions for that.
I guess the question I have, it says something here about the compensation for basic services, and then it says third-party consulting fees. That is not included in basic services. Give me an example of what that means.
Bringing in an abatement consultant to come in and do an evaluation of Laura, a thorough evaluation, give us a proposal for abatement. Doing a geotech report, looking at site soil conditions.
For example, that abatement piece, if that was something that we will have to do regardless of its use, including if
And that's not
it ends up.
included in these
Right.
dollars, that's what
Right.
you mean by the third party. Okay.
Correct.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome to our family.
Yes, at this time, roll call, please.
Mr. Kameenz?
Yes.
Mr. Nemish?
Yes.
Mr. Nay?
Yes.
Mr. Haas?
Yes.
Thank you, that's all I have.
Greg, can I make a quick comment if it's all right? I'd like to thank the people from Fanning County Immersion for coming tonight. I think it's an exciting time for us as a school district and as a Board of Education to where the problems we're solving are not problems of people fleeing from the school district by the tens and by the hundreds, but people are coming. And so we have a need for those services because it's a great time to be here. And I'm excited to be a part of it. And I want to thank also the staff for all their hard work getting ready to open with tight space and a whole lot of people. And it's an exciting time because it affords us great opportunities to do some great things for the future of our community.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
I'd like to say something to you on that note. I think unless you're involved in the day-to-day, especially transportation is what comes to mind, because that seems to me that a lot of parents have issues. We are transporting almost 4,700 kids every day, and I see the amount of kids that come into Salem on a daily basis, come in and go out, and as safe as it is, and what a good process it is. I just want to say thanks to the transportation department.
Yes.
And unless you're there and you hear the calls that we get from parents, the things they want you to do with their children, where to go on this day, in spite of all that, our kids are brought home and taken to school in a safe manner, and I really thank you and the transportation department for that.
Thank you.
Excellent.
The amazing thing is it's over 100 square miles.
Yes.
And I can tell you that I was in the transportation department office, I think that first day of school that night. They had over 100 voicemails at 6:30 at night, and they stayed and listened to every one of those voicemails, and if it was pertinent, they made a call back. You know, parents would call everywhere and expect to get a live person on the line. And, you know, with those kinds of numbers of kids out on the road, it's very difficult to get a live person on the phone, as those phones are also being utilized to communicate with the different school buildings as we look at schedule and the radios. This time of year, that staff over there is stressed to the max, as we have gotten bigger than we ever have been, and we're transporting more kids than we ever have before. And we have recently, I think actually the first day before school, we took delivery on 4 new buses. One was a special needs bus, and the other 3 were regular buses. And you know, the staff was hustling over there to get them inspected, to get them by the highway patrol and get them roadworthy so that they could be gotten out on routes. So you know, we're at the point with our bus fleet where pretty much when the bottom falls out of a bus, we buy a replacement. And so that's, you know, we're pretty challenged with field trips right after school, extracurriculars, you know, scheduling those, and our new transportation framework. During the summer, Michelle basically created a whole new transportation framework to go with our new organization of transporting the high school, and then transporting grades 5 through 8, and then transporting our elementary grades. So she basically reinvented the wheel, and obviously we're the 5th day in. As I said, with unplanned road closures and whatnot, I think we're doing pretty well, but the staff is extremely stressed over there this time of year. It'll get a little better every day, and we may even have to look at shifting a building time here or there to make that middle tier run, and we'll look at that in the next several days to see what we need to do there.
Yes, thank you very much. The department does very well.
Thank you guys very much.
There was one thing that I would like to say to our architect partners at this point. The board is excited about what's coming forward. But I will be honest with you, we're also concerned on the timing. Greg and I kind of had this conversation this morning, and we want to be very sensitive to the people and our stakeholders and the people who make all of this possible. And so we want to be very conscientious with you and let you know where we stand. But we want to be very cautious before we make any sudden moves or anything of that nature, and look at everything from that standpoint. So just so you know that when you come to us, a lot of times you may want an answer right away, and we're not prepared to give an answer right away because we want to make sure that we make the right answer. So just so you know that up front, and because that's important to us to make the right decision, not just for us here, but for those who come after us. So just okay. At this time, superintendent's reports, recommendations.
I ask the board's approval for all personnel items listed under item A.
I'll move. Mr. Nemish? Mr. Nay? Questions? Roll call, please.
Mr. Nemish? Yes. Mr. Nay?
Yes.
Mr. Haas?
Yes.
Mr. Cremains?
Yes.
Thank you. I ask the board's approval for resolution under item B.
I'll move.
Mr. Cremains?
I'll second.
Mr. Nemish?
This is a resolution. Mrs. Price is very active in the Ohio School Boards Association, and it's a permissive resolution to reimburse her for travel expenses. And she's very active, and we would like to be able to do that.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Nay?
Yes.
Mr. Haas?
Yes.
Mr. Cremains?
Yes.
Mr. Nemish?
Yes.
And then on the addendum, I would ask the board's approval for item C with Westchester Hospital. This is an internship opportunity for our students that Mr. Woodruff, the teacher, has negotiated, and it's time sensitive. We would like to get that back to them so that our students can have that opportunity.
I'll move.
Mr. Cremains?
I'll second.
Mr. Nay? Roll call, please.
Mr. Haas?
Yes.
Mr. Cremains?
Yes.
Mr. Nemish?
Yes.
Mr. Nay?
Yes.
Thank you.
informational items. Ms. Grice is not with us this evening, so we will not be hearing the Warren County Career Center report. The next board meeting is September 20th here at the Little Miami High School at 7 o'clock. Are there any community comments on non-agenda items?
No one has signed up.
Okay, at this time, I need a motion to adjourn. Mr. Nay,
Second.
Mr. Kameen. Roll call, please.
Mr. Cremines?
Yes.
Mr. Nemish?
Yes.
Mr. Day?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.